In this time of the pandemic, where COVID-19 has crippled the world economies, where our government has ordered nationwide shutdown, where hospitals are overwhelmed.
Shortly after, the unthinkable happened.
I was literally stunned and frozen.
And their religious leaders are proven to be frauds. Where do you go to get all your questions answered and to hear what God has to say about this matter? You can only find the answers in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under Commanding General YAHANNA. We give you scriptural breakdowns of world events and the up and coming world war. We will show you in the Bible where the children of Israel, who are the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans today, would suffer slavery in Jamaica, Caribbean, North, Central, and South America, and other parts of the world. We will show you in the Bible where God said He would send plagues upon the earth before He frees people from this captivity.
The World Health Organization has declared coronavirus a global pandemic.
We will give you the true teaching of the Bible, precept upon precept. To learn more, subscribe today and call the number in the description for I.S.U.P.K Jamaica. Shalom. Shalom, Israel. I want to say Yahbashim Yahwashai Barakatah to the brothers. Yahshama Ailatan Basham Yahwashai to the sisters. This is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, and is run today by Commanding General YAHANNA, the leader and the one with the rank and the authority to be the leader of blacks, Hispanic, and Native Americans at this time. All right, welcome to our Wednesday evening law class. Welcome to our Wednesday evening law class. We're dealing with people now who should rule over Israel. As a people, you know what I find the very interesting thing with the Bible, that our people still don't get. Our people get the impression as if the Bible really belongs to those people who are in the land of Israel at this time. Which in a way there was no land called Israel. The land was Canaan or Jerusalem or Judah. Well, they are in the land at this time and they call it Israel, making them not Israelites but Israeli. Very interesting. They call themselves Israeli. But the interesting thing about the Bible is that it holds all the, turn this around now. Turn this. All the records and instructions. Right, that's a better word. All the instructions that is supposed to make us back into a nation. The Bible have all that instruction. The Bible have all that instructions to make us into a nation again. And one of the things that is in one of the instructions one of the instructions that is in the scriptures is how we should choose our ruler. Now, from the time of Moses, our rulers are always being chosen by the Most High God. But we read We reached to a stage now where we're listening to other people, other nations. Other nations telling us how to choose our leaders. Other nations putting up themselves to be our leaders. And then trying to tell us, we must fall in line. This is no different from what had happened at the time of the Maccabees. But whenever this happens, it's always our people that goes to the heathens for them to rule for them to rule over us. In other words, go to the heathens and bargain and say, we listen to you, man, we follow you. And it has never done well for us. All right. Back in the time of the first king, who was Saul. Saul was a king chosen and anointed by Samuel under the instruction of the Most High God. And then David was anointed to be next king. But one thing about being king with kings, is that different from being, say, judges over the people. The kings now have a tendency to choose their bloodline as king. So you find that when Saul died, who wanted to be king over Israel after Saul died? David. Well, David was anointed to be king, but they chose one of Saul's son, and anoint him king over all Israel. David was anointed king over Judah. All right, let's go to 2 Samuel 2, 1 to 32.
Another one gun. Another one gun. This is the book of 2 Samuel chapter 2 verse 1. And it came to pass after this that David inquired of the Lord, saying, shall I go up into any of the cities of Judah? And the Lord said unto him, go up. And David said, whither shall I go up? And he said, unto Hebron.
So from back in the days, and these are the days that we really would like to see come back again, where we can consult the Most High, and He give us instructions in real time as to where to turn. Right now, if we could contact the Most High, what would we say? Who should we appoint king over Jamaica? Who should we appoint to be ruler over our people in Jamaica? Would ask him for a ruler. But anyways, maybe the answer you might get is that, what with them money from evening? Maybe the answer you will get is that, well, the king does not only serve you Benjamites in Jamaica. The king should serve all Israel. So maybe the answer you'll get would be, I have chosen Commanding General YAHANNA to be your ruler. But what I always admire is the way in those days our ancestors would find themselves at a crossroad and consult the Most High as to what decisions to take, and they would get answer. Except in the case like, say, Saul, when he wanted to know if he what to do in time of the battle, and the Most High didn't answer him. Why? Because the Most High had stopped walking with him. But David consulted the Most High. Most High tell him, yes, go on up. Should I go up to any of the cities of Judah? And the Lord tell him, yes, go up. And David said, which one of these cities should I go up to? And the Most High answered him, unto Hebron, verse 2.
Another one can, verse 2. So David went up thither, and his 2 wives also, Ahinoam, the Jezreelitess, and Abigail, Nabal's wife, the Carmelite. Verse 3.
Man him 2 wives.
Another one can, verse 3. And his men that were with him did David bring up, every man with his household, and they dwelled in the city of Hebron.
In the cities of Hebron. So Hebron had more than one city. So David went to Hebron. Where was David at the time when he was asking the Most High? He was in the land of the Philistines. Remember, he had gone into exile. And while he was in exile, he got the news that King Saul died and his friend Jonathan. And he wept. David wept. So now the Most High tell him, oh, yes, you can go up now, Saul dead. Go to Hebron. So all of them now move into Hebron. Continue.
Another one can, verse 4. And the men of Judah came, and there they anointed David king over the house of Judah. And they told David, saying, that the men of Jabesh Gilead were there that buried Saul.
Were they that buried Saul. So they were telling David that Jabesh Gilead man them bury Saul. I think Jabesh Gilead were to be found in the land of the Benjamites. Right. Verse 5.
Another one can. Verse 5. And David sent messengers unto the men of Jabesh Gilead, and said unto them, Blessed be ye of the Lord, that ye have shewed this kindness unto your Lord, even unto Saul, and have buried him.
Right. Because if you remember, Saul's son were taken by the enemies, and they pinned his body to the walls of their idolatrous temples. So these men now, they had to make case and bury. They went back for Saul's son. They had to make case and bury them because the enemies needed the body to show in their temple, like, this is victory in our war. Continue.
Another one can. Verse 6. And now the Lord shew kindness and truth unto you, and I also will requite you this kindness, because ye have done this thing.
Right. Continue.
Another one can. Therefore now let your hands be strengthened, and be ye valiant, for your master Saul is dead, and also the house of Judah have anointed me king over them.
All right. So David now tell them, say, I'm king over Judah, so come and follow me. Tell them, say, I've been anointed king over Judah. Leave it as that. And your master Saul is now dead. So they should know that, I need to follow behind David now. But what happened? Watch what happened now. Verse 8.
Another one can. Verse 8. But Abner the son of Ner, captain of Saul's host, took Ish-Bosheth the son of Saul, and brought him over to Mahanaim.
9.
Another one can, verse 9. And made him king over Gilead, and over the Asherites, and over Jezreel, and over Ephraim, and over Benjamin, and over all Israel.
So David was anointed by his tribe to be king over them. But Abner now set up Ishbosheth as king over the next 11 tribes, or say 10 tribes. Verse 9.
Another one can,
10.
verse
10.
9. And made him king over Gilead. Salakia.
10.
Verse 10. Cancer. Verse 10. Ishbosheth, Saul's son, was 40 years old when he began to reign over Israel, and reigned 2 years, but the house of Judah followed David.
Right. So Judah, right. So Ishbosheth reigned 2 years over Israel. That is everybody else except Judah. 11.
Another one can, verse 11. And the time that David was king in Hebron over the house of Judah was 7 years and 6 months.
So watch that. 7 years David was king in Hebron. So that time lapse between when David asked the Most High from verse 1, should I go up? And he said, yes, go up to Hebron. To here in verse 11. 7 years, But during that 7 years, boy, a lot of battle between Judah and Benjamin. Yeah, it was a showdown for the throne. But really and truly, it shouldn't be, because everyone knew that David was supposed to be king. So it seemed as if the problem there was Abner, who was general to Saul, who knew that Saul did not like David. But at the same time, he knew that David was anointed to be the next king. So they shouldn't run. But what happened is that they went into civil war. So this is what they call now civil war. All right, verse what now? 13 or 12?
Salakia, verse 12. And Abner the son of Ner, and the servant of Ishbosheth the son of Saul, went out from Mahanaim to Gibeon. Verse 13. And Joab the son of Jeriah, and the Jeruiah, the servant of David. Zeruiah, and the servants of David went out and met together by the pool of Gibeon. And they sat down, the one on the one side of the pool, and the other on the other side of the pool.
Right. So this is what's happening now. Where after Abner decided that, all right, Ishbosheth gonna be king, then Ishbosheth's men and David's men, that is Benjamin and Judah, decide to meet and decide by battle who is the stronger. Continue.
Another one can, verse 14. And Abner said to Joab, let the young men now arise and play before us. And Joab said, let them arise.
So obviously they met there to negotiate, but negotiation never work. So all right, let's fight it out. Let the young men arise and fight before us. Continue.
Another one can, verse 15. Then there arose and went over by number went over by number 12 of Benjamin, which pertained to Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, and 12 of the servants of David.
So they chose 12 warriors from each side. 12 from Benjamin under Ishbosheth, and 12 from Judah under David. This is a battle. Battle to the death, you know. Not no joke thing. 16.
Another one gun, verse 16. And they caught everyone his fellow by the head, and thrust his sword in the fellow's side. So they fell down together, wherefore that place was called Elkat Azurim, which is in Gibeon.
All right. So this place now, what happened? It's like no, that 12 no better than the other. You know. Catch a fight and I stab you, you stab me. Me dead, you dead. That happened with all 12 men. Continue.
Another one can. Verse 17. And there was a very sore battle that day, and Abner was beaten, and the men of Israel before the servants of David. Verse 18. And there were 3 sons of Zeruiah there, Joab and Abishai and Asael. And Asael was as light of foot as a wild roe. Verse 19. And Asael pursued after Abner.
Read back 18.
Another one gone. Verse 18. And there were 3 sons of Zeruiah there, Joab and Abishai and Asael. And Asael was as light of foot as a wild roe.
Right, so giving you a little detail in the battle now. So the 12 men them stab up themselves, but stab up each other. But the house of Saul under Ishbosheth and the house of David war start. Civil war start. All right. And what happened now? One Joab was David general. So Joab now and the 2 of his brother Abishai and Asael was there. Continue.
Another one gone. Verse 19. And Asael pursued after Abner, and in going he turned not to the right hand nor to the left from following Abner. Verse 20. Then Abner looked behind him and said, Art thou Asael? And he answered, I am. Verse 21. And Abner said to him, Turn thee aside to thy right hand or to thy left, and lay thee hold on one of the young men, and take thee his armor. But Asael would not turn aside from following of him.
So Asael now wanted Abner's head. But Abner tell him, says, stop following me. Turn aside and go follow some of the young man them and go take him armor. Don't follow me. Abner was Saul's general, so a big stripe that for him to take the general's head, that would be a big stripe. So he want that stripe. But let's see how it play out.
Another one gone, verse 22. And Abner said again to Asael, Turn thee aside from following me. Wherefore should I smite thee to the ground? Oh, then should I hold up my face to Joab thy brother?
Right. He said, look, listen, man. I said, turn from following me. I'm not going to kill you. If I should smite you, meaning say, why should I smite you to the ground? Oh, me I go look for and drop after me kill you. Stop following me, man. But he would
Gone.
not hear. 23.
Another one gone, verse 23. Albeit he refused to turn aside, wherefore Abner, with the hinder end of the spear, smote him under the fifth rib, that the spear came out behind him, and he fell down there and died in the same place. And it came to pass that as many as came to the place where Asael fell down and died stood still.
Right. So he would not hear and he died. So Asael now he was also a warrior, but he is not as versed as the generals.
God.
General Abner said, "Stop following me. Now your brother, me know your brother. Me can't go look at your brother face if me go kill you. Stop follow me." But he was determined. He want Abner's head. So Abner just set the spear and ram him under him fifth rib and kill him right in place there. All right, verse 24.
Another one gone, verse 24. Joab also and Abishai pursued after Abner, and the sun went down when they were come to the hill of Ammah, that lieth before Giah by the way of the wilderness of Gibeah. Verse 25. And the children of Benjamin gathered themselves together after Abner, and became one troop, and stood on the top of an hill.
Right. So Benjamin now became an army to themselves. And they realized that civil war is on and they got to defend themselves. Because remember, Saul was from the house of Benjamin. So they decide they would be behind Ishbosheth, who was not chosen by the Most High God, who was just chosen by Abner. All right, continue.
Another one can, verse 26. Then Abner called to Joab and said, Shall the sword devour forever? Knowest thou not that it will be bitterness in the latter end? How long shall it be then, ere thou bid the people return from following their brethren?
Right. So Abner tell Joab now, say, brethren, it don't get worse, So call off the people in. 27.
Another one can, verse 27. And Joab said, As God liveth, unless thou had spoken, surely then in the morning the people had gone up, everyone from following his brother.
28.
Another one can, verse 28. So Joab blew a trumpet, and all the people stood still and pursued after Israel no more. Neither fought they anymore.
Right. So this was like Judah against Israel,
Gone.
And this is they give you in this chapter here, they give you a description of one of the battles, but this was battle that went on for a long while. Right? At least 2 years of fighting. Probably more. Because David was king in Hebron for what, 7 years?
Gone.
Continue.
Another one can. Verse 29. And Abner and his men walked all that night through the plain and passed over Jordan and went through the Slakia and went through all Bithran, and they came to Ma'anaim, Slakia, Ma'anaim. Verse 30, and Joab returned from following Abner, and when he had gathered all the people together, there lacked of David's servant 19 men and Asahel.
Right. So from the house of David, or from the Judites, was just 19 men, plus Asahel, that would be what? 20. 20 men fell. Continue.
Another one gone, verse 31. But the servants of David had smitten of Benjamin and of Abner's men, so that 360 men died.
That's 360 men from Benjamin and Abner's men died. 303 scores. Trying to take the throne from Judah. Judah was anointed to be king. All right. So this happened in Israel many times. We have been through many civil wars as a people. We have been through any since slavery. But you know, when I look at the days being in the land of Jerusalem, we had many civil wars. There was a time when there was a civil war, big civil war between the northern and the southern kingdom. Continue.
Another one gone, verse 32. And they took up Asahel and buried him in the sepulchre of his father, which was in Bethlehem. And Joab and his men went all night, and they came to Hebron at break of day.
Right. So that's how far they had pursued after Benjamin. Way into the land. So it took them all night to reach back home. But you know, they had decided that enough is enough. It was because wars were going on between both while they came to the pool to kind of trash it out. But it's as if it turned into a bigger war rather than end. All right, so next chapter.
Another one gone. This is the book of Samuel, chapter 3, verse 1. Now there was long war between the house of Saul and the house of David. But David waxed stronger and stronger, and the house of Saul waxed weaker and weaker.
Right, there it is. Long war between both houses, Benjamin and Judah. Right? But David house waxed stronger and stronger because they knew, and this is why I said this is a war that could have been avoided, because they knew that David was anointed to be the next king. So it could Abner was the problem still, you know. Because him really want to follow David. All right. He didn't really want to follow David. He wanted to continue following the house of Saul, because that's the house that he served under. All right, verse 2.
Another one gone, verse 2. And David were sons, and unto David were sons born in Hebron. And his firstborn was Amnon of Ahinoam, the Jezreelitess.
Right. So David started having children now he didn't get any while he was out there in exile, and get them when he come back into Hebron. He was in exile 2 years something. So when I look at it, it's about 7, 8, 9. More than 10 years after he was anointed to be king, that he actually became king, you know. Yeah. So basically, the people probably start saying, God change your mind now, man. Yeah, it's just like today. People believe that, sure, Bible, when I tell people about the Bible, what the first thing them say? What you hear people say when they start talking about the Bible? Back in the days. What you hear them say?
That was given to us by the white man.
All right. What you hear them say, Officer Kayadon?
I say a long time days, something that, and you know what I mean, a modern time, you know.
Exactly. So we believe that because the Most High did something in a while back. So, and you don't see, you don't really see a follow up. People start say, so a long time thing that. So this is what caught them in Benjamin now, you know. David was anointed to be king. You know, see him have to go live in exile and say, we can take a throne. Right? But during the battles and the outcome of the battle, they see more and more who God was with. Because David's house keep getting stronger and stronger, while the house of Saul getting weaker and weaker. And what came out after that now? Verse 1.
Verse
3.
3, Canada
Right.
1 can. Verse 3, and his second, Chileab of Abigail, the wife of Nabal, the Carmelite, and the third, Absalom, the son of Maacah, the daughter of Talmaiah, king of Geshur. Verse 4, and the fourth, Adonijah, the son of Agis, and the fifth, Shephatiah, the son of Abital. Verse 5, and the sixth, Ithream, by Eglah, David's wife. They were born to David in Hebron.
These were wrong.
Were born to David in Hebron. Slack.
Hello. Probably. I'm in class now. Tune into class. All right, so while David was in Hebron, David wasn't wasting time again. 7 years in Hebron and 6 children is like, wow, one every year, man. Yeah, start sowing his royal seed. Carmelite, the third, no, of Abigail, the wife of his second, Chileab, of Abigail, the wife of Nabal, the Carmelite. Absalom married one princess. The fourth, Adonijah, the son of Agit, and the fifth, the son of Abital, and the sixth, Ithream, by Eglah, David's wife. After wonder why they put it Eglah, David's wife. All these were his wife. These were born to David in Hebron. All right, verse 6.
Canada 1 can, verse 6. And it came to pass, while there was war between the house of Saul and the house of David, that Abner made himself strong for the house of Saul.
Right. So Abner the general, he was the problem, really, you know. But like we said, this was civil war. Civil war that was going on in our land to determine a ruler over the people. All right, verse 7.
Canada 1 can, verse 7. And Saul had a concubine whose name was Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, and Ishbosheth, son to Abner,
Said
Slakia,
to
and
Abner.
Ishbosheth said to Abner, wherefore hast thou gone in unto my father's concubine?
Concubine. All right, so Ishbosheth, who was now the king, chastising Abner. Abner obviously now take up one of Saul's former woman. Well, Saul died, but Ishbosheth obviously did not like it. Verse 8.
Canada 1 Can, verse 8. Then was Abner very wrath for the words of Ishbosheth, and said, am I a dog's head, which against Judah do shew kindness, which against Judah do shew kindness this day unto the house of Saul thy father, to his brethren and to his friends, and have not delivered thee into the hand of David, that thou chargest me today with a fault concerning this woman?
Right. So this born Abner now, I mean, your father dead, so why the lady can't take another husband? The husband died. Verse 9.
Canada 1 Can, verse 9. So do God to Abner, and more also, except as the Lord has sworn to David, even so I do to him.
All right. Verse 10.
Verse 10. To translate the kingdom from the house of Saul, and to set up the throne of David over Israel and over Judah, from Dan even to Beersheba.
Right. From one end of the land to the next. So basically, him telling Ishbosheth, you know, let's set up house of David over all Israel, from Dan to Beersheba. Translate the kingdom from the house of Saul. Is about transfer the kingdom. You take the kingdom from under you and put it over to David. All right. Verse 11.
Canada 1 Can, verse 11. And he could not answer Abner a word again, because he feared him.
Okay. So you see, Abner was the one who was the strong arm behind the house of Saul. He want to take one of Saul's ex-wife. No, not ex-wife. One of Saul's widow. I remember Saul fought many wars. So he had concubine. And concubine is, in the church you learn that a concubine is what? You have wife and you have concubine. So in the church they say the concubine is the one. The side chick. Thank you very much. Today what you would call side chick. But that is erroneous. In the church they talk that the concubine is the keep woman. Okay. So when they hear that the king had 300 wives and 200 concubines, they say, well, so much keep woman in here, but the concubine is not a keep woman, you know. The concubine is your wife also. But what makes the difference between having a wife and a concubine? The wife is the woman that you marry, where you make the proposal to her and she can say, no. She has the option to say, oh, sure, I can be your king. I can be your queen. Sorry, your princess, your rib. Or she can say, no, but I don't like you. I ain't going to marry you. And you can't do nothing about it. The one that is a concubine now is the woman that you gain in war. Still of your people, but you, while you were in war, you went and you kill out our mother, father, brother, sister, you kill out in family. You take you all of them hostage. They take all the women and children hostage. So one of that woman know who you take and you see and you like her. You said, damn. We have a law how you choose her as a concubine still. You have to shave off her head. Whether she a tall hair or not, you bald head and you shave off every year off him. And you humble her. Meaning she can't resist.
Humble her, what's that?
You strip her naked. Cut, yes. Trim off her ear, take off every ear off her body. Right. So once you strip her naked, you don't strip her naked, go to sleep with her now. Strip her naked as a form of humiliation. Because she's a slave really. But you're not going to make her your wife. Yeah. She can't say no, you know. She can't say no, I don't want to be your wife. Because she was taken in battle. So when you marry she now, she become a concubine. She's like your wife, but she's like a servant at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, so the wife now, she is at liberty to say, even when you're a king, sit down on your lap and box off a crown off your head. But the concubine now, you call her, she come and she say, yes, master.
Why you have to shave off all of the hair off her?
That's what the law say. You ball her head and you leave her alone for some time to be cleansed until her hair grow back and thing.
6, 7 months.
I mean, never so long. And then you decide after that if you really want her. If after that period you change your mind and say, nobody want her to be my wife, you have to go let her go now. You have to free her. That's what the law says. So she's no longer your servant after that. You have to free her. Right. That's how it goes. So in the church, that was another error, is another error because they still preach that in the church. Like the concubine is a side chick. No side chick. It's your wife. Remember, you can have more than one wife. Here so far, David have several wives. Abner went and took one of Saul's concubine, but Saul dead. So obviously, this woman who Abner took now, maybe it was the same Abner who won her in a battle and bring her over and Saul take her as his wife, as his concubine.
Oh.
So Abner now take her and I.S.U.P.K said, who tell us you can't sleep with my father woman? And they burn Abner. Abner cuss him and tell him, say, I'm going to give the kingdom over to David. And I.S.U.P.K said, don't say anything else. He catch him afraid now, because I'm afraid of Saul. Afraid of Abner. Abner is a warrior. Right. So he answered Abner not another word. Couldn't answer him again. Because Abner decided now, say, I'll start follow David. You know. Maybe we see more nobility in David than in I.S.U.P.K. All right, verse 12.
Another one gone, verse 12. And Abner sent messengers to David on his behalf, saying, whose is the land? Saying also, make thy league with me, and behold, my hand shall be with thee, to bring about all Israel unto thee.
All right. So Abner basically tell David, make a deal with me. I'm going to give you, I deliver the whole of Israel and you make you rule the whole Israel. All right. 13.
Another one gone, verse 13. And he said, well, I will make a league with thee, but one thing I require of thee, that is, thou shalt not see my face, except thou first bring Michal, Saul's daughter, when thou comest to see my face.
Right. So David take back him wife now. By our law, him can't take her. He's not supposed to take her back to be his wife. But he can take him under a roof, not sleeping with her. And you stay here. It's like my wife, but you're not sleeping with me. And you're not going to sleep with nobody. So, the pipe, the lock off. All right. Verse what now? 14.
14. Can another one can? And David sent messengers to Ishbosheth, Saul's son, saying, deliver me my wife Michal, which I expose to me for 100 foreskins of the Philistines. Verse 15. And Ishbosheth sent and took her from her husband, even from Phaltiel, the son of Laish.
Right. So you remember Saul did take her and give her to this man after David had to go into exile. So here she is referred to, and not as David's wife, but took her from her husband, which was Phaltiel. So she is now the wife of Phaltiel. I remember our law says once that woman go and be with another man, you can't take her again to be your wife. All right, stick up in there, verse 15. All right, let's find that law. So Deuteronomy 24. Let me see if I can find it. So this. Not Peter, Deuteronomy. Not Deuteronomy. All right, so what David is doing here now, really, David is actually exercising and flexing some muscle. Because that wife was taken away from him to humiliate him. That's what Saul did when he took away Michal from him and give him to another wife, to another man. Right. Saul took that wife from him as a means to humiliate him, take away his wife and give him a wife to another man want to show how much of not a son to Saul. He does not recognize David as no more son again.
God.
So he did that. So what's his name now? Abner want to make a deal with David. So David now and say, yeah, me I want to talk, but I have to give me back my wife. All right. All right. Let me try Deuteronomy 24.
Another one gone. Another one gone. No.
All right. I'm going to read from 1 to let's read verse 4.
Another one gone. This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 24 and verse 4. Her former husband which sent her away may not take her again to be his wife. After that she is defiled, for that is abomination before the Lord. And thou shalt not cause the land to sin, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance.
Right. So once you're a woman, you leave your woman and she go to a next man. The fact that you go to a next man, by our law, you can't take her back.
God.
And David was a man who followed the law of the Most High. So what was he doing here? He was basically just flexing showing some power. Flexing some kingly muscle. Yeah, me and you were going to negotiate. I remember I.S.U.P.K would have been, if Saul did not take that wife from David, I.S.U.P.K would have been David's brother-in-law. So I come back and talk to my brother-in-law and I say, yeah, no, I don't know meet until you give me back my wife. I did win her. How much? What? 2,004 skin of the what them name? Philistines. That was the price Saul asked for she to be David's wife. And David fulfilled that. So David basically said, I did buy my wife, I want to come take him away. He sent her back. Verse what you there now? 14.
Verse 15. Slakia 16.
16.
Another one gone. Verse 16. And her husband went with her along, weeping behind her to Baorim. Then said Abner unto him, go, return. And he returned.
Right. So, classic thing, you running behind the woman crying. Oh, come back, we're going. Yeah, you shouldn't get her in the first place. So because you did kind of richer than David at the time, Saul take her from David and give him to you. Well, David is now king and David flexing his muscle.
God.
So David take her back. But not to be a wife, but to be a possession because she was already his possession. So you're going to be in my house without a man. all the days of your life. Verse 17.
Another one can, verse 17. And Abner had communication with the elders of Israel, saying, Ye sought for David in time past to be king over you. Verse 18. Now then do it, for the Lord has spoken of David, saying, By the hand of my servant David, I will save my people Israel out of the hand of the Philistines and out of the hand of all their enemies.
All right. So Abner was the power broker in all this, all the civil war that was going. Yes, so the most I work, just one of Saul's ex-wife entice Abner. Abner going on to her. His son saw and realized what was going on and wanted to chastise Abner for that, which kind of stupid because your father died. You can take another, the wife can take another husband. She couldn't take Ishbosheth to be her husband, right? So Ishbosheth now, just because he was king, he might try flex his kingly muscle over Abner. And Abner really boy him up. Yeah, hear me? I go and take the kingdom and give it to David. That show you who was the power broker in the whole civil war. And that was Abner. So Abner just sent message to David and say, yo, I make a deal with me. I'm going to give you all Israel to be king over. David said, okay, I will make a deal with you only after you give me back that, send back that woman come to me, which they did. All right, continue.
Another one can. Verse 19. And Abner also spake in the ears of Benjamin. And Abner went also to speak in the ears of David in Hebron, all that seemed good to Israel, and that seemed good to the whole house of Benjamin. Verse 20. So Abner came to David to Hebron, and 20 men with him. And David made Abner and the men that were with him a feast.
Verse 1. Oh, verse 20.
Verse 20.
Abner came to Hebron, him and 20 men. Yeah, that's his bodyguard. Abner knows that they will kill him. Trick him and kill him.
Good.
Abner went also to speak in the ears of David in Hebron, all that seemed good to Israel. Okay. Because by then, everybody kind of get tired of the civil war. Because it was a civil war that was going nowhere. All right. Just like nations upon nations of civil wars, like our brothers, our Benjamite brothers now caught up in between a civil war in Ethiopia.
Good.
You watch the latest thing they I sent to you?
I watch a piece. I never get to watch the whole lot.
All right, watch all that when you get the time. What the rebel group name again? Tigray
TFLA. The Tigray rebel, TFLA or something like that.
All right. TPLF.
Yeah,
Tigray
TPL.
People Liberation Force, something like that. So. They joined with another rebel group.
Gun.
You know, they joined with another rebel group.
Gun.
All right. Just like Yeah, they joined with the two cities that they took over since week, which bring them closer to Addis Ababa. They are now close. They are now right in the doorsteps of that rebel group, which they were separated from over the years because of the vast land space between them. Now they are right on the doorstep, and they told them they both now joining force.
Gone.
So you know what
Yeah.
that does not augur good for our Benjamite brothers down there.
Gone.
As a matter of fact, the government down there has called a state of emergency. So that means they can't even go leave the country now.
Gone.
They let the war catch them down there. So how they're going to leave now?
Yeah.
State of emergency, and the government is calling on all people to come and sign up and defend against the rebel. Which side are they going to stand on?
Gone. That is the question. Gone.
That's the question. If they go and join with the rebels, well, you better make sure the rebels win. Whichever side they go and take, you better ensure that that side win.
Gone. Gone.
Because if the side that they take lose, it's not going to be well for them, and they might not just be faced with deportation; they probably be faced with death. Yeah, just like in ancient Egypt, what did the Pharaoh say? These people are mightier and stronger than us, and I am sorry, stronger and more numerous than us, basically.
Gone.
Perhaps one day they will side with our enemies and overthrow us. Let us deal wisely with them. Well, guess what? The brothers down in Sashamane don't even get that chance. They were trying to deal wisely with them by deporting them. And you come now, come on, no man. You know, you beg the oppressor to stay in his country. And you see the war looming over your head. I tell you, we don't understand politics as a people. And this is why we always get caught up in political warfare. We don't understand politics, right? If they understood politics, come out of the country. If anything, you try and go back after the civil war settled. But come out now, because one, you can't take side. Because any side they take, it's going down in the history books that those Jamaicans and other Rastas, those Rastafarians, took side with X people.
Gone.
And then probably the side you take is not the side that win. And they're not you can't they're not going to allow them to remain down there neutral. You have
Them
to
have
take
to
side.
pick a side.
You have to go take a side.
Have to pick a side. Gone.
If you remain neutral, they are going to kill you.
Gone.
One side is going to kill you. So you have to take a side, and really and truly, you can't take a side. So see, find yourself between a rock. I wouldn't use a rock and a hard place. A rock and a rock.
Gone.
Find themselves between two rock stones. But this is civil war. This is how civil war is. There are power brokers in civil war. There are people who can change the tide of the war, right? And
Gone.
there are people who can't. In the case here with David now, Abner was the power broker in this civil war that was going on. Abner the Benjamite, who was the captain over the Benjamites, or the general over the Benjamites, over the house of Saul. Actually him hold the power. It's as if he used Ishbosheth as a puppet. Ishbosheth coming like a puppet. because he was the one who actually had the power sway.
Gone.
All right, verse what now? 20?
Salakia, verse 21.
21.
Another one gone, verse 21. And Abner said unto David, I will arise and go, and will gather all Israel unto my lord the king, that they may make a league with thee, and that thou mayest reign over all that thine heart desireth. And David sent Abner away, and he went in peace.
Right, so David agreed for the war to end, because that is what you're trying to do, end this war. 22.
Another one gone, verse 22. And behold, the servants of David and Joab came from pursuing a troop, and brought in a great spoil with them. But Abner was not with David in Hebron, for he had sent him away, and he was gone in peace.
All right, so when Abner went to David, badman Joab wasn't there. David general had gone out to war. During the time of David, it was just wars upon wars, David had, when he was not fighting, I remember when he was in exile, he still had no rest. He was fighting with the enemy. At one point, they wanted him to go and fight against Israel. But the Most High, turned the tides so that it wouldn't happen. Because he was anointed to be king. Or you going to fight against the people. But David would have to do it. All right, so Abner, Joab bringing great spoil from this war that they went on. All right, 23.
Another one gone, verse 23. When Joab and all the host that was with him were come, they told Joab, saying, Abner the son of Ner came to the king, and he has sent him away, and he is gone in peace.
All right, 24.
Verse 24. Then Joab came to the king and said, What hast thou done? Behold, Abner came unto thee. Why is it that thou hast sent him away, and he is quite gone?
Well, you know what is Joab's problem now?
Right, gone.
Yeah, Joab want to kill Abner for Asael now,
Gone.
Him have him up because Asael was his brother.
Gone.
Asael was a warrior, a good warrior of Israel. But, he's not able to look and say, well, if Abner didn't kill Asael was going to kill Abner. So he's the better warrior, came out on top there. But he wanted revenge for his brother. So he asked David, what have you do? A man come here, so I just send him back. And we want him. But David is not that kind of person. All right, 25.
Another one gone, verse 25. Thou knowest Abner the son of Ner, that he came to deceive thee, and to know thy going out and thy coming in, and to know all that thou doest.
So in other words, basically I tell David, say, Abner come spy.
Gone.
Spy him come spy. 26.
Another one gone, verse 26. And when Joab was come out from David, he sent messengers after Abner, which brought him again from the well of Sirah. But David knew it not.
Right, so Joab now, after I'm going to talk to David, he just secretly send some man go after Abner, entice him and bring him back. Tell him to come back here. 27.
Another one gone, verse 27. And when Abner was returned to Hebron, Joab took him aside in the gate to speak with him quietly, and smote him there under the fifth rib. that he died for the blood of Asael, his brother.
And there you have it. Lick him same place, right under him fifth rib. Same place where him kill his brother. Joab trick him and smite him. You know what this is? This is not manslaughter, this is murder.
God.
Yeah, because you plan to kill him. Premeditated. So this is murder 101. Right. Let's see how the king deals with it. 28.
Another one, verse 28. And afterward, when David heard it, he said, I and my kingdom are guiltless before the Lord forever from the blood of Abner, the son of Ner.
David said it this way because David know that you can lose the kingdom for that murder. Not because you are a king mean you can go murder Israelites. No.
Right.
A man fall if you're in war. For instance, if Abner had fell while they were at war during the Civil War, then you see that's not murder. That's you fall in battle, and battle can be any man's game. But here you trick the man, you go call him under false pretense, and when he come, you kill him. That's murder. So David, let it be known, me and my kingdom free from this man's murder. It's on him. I him do it. All right. Verse 29.
Another one, verse 29. Let it rest on the head of Joab and on all his father's house, and let there not fail from the house of Joab one that has an issue, or that is a leper, or that leaneth on a staff, or that falleth on the sword, or that lacketh bread.
All right. So David put a curse on Joab house now.
Yeah.
This murder is on your head and your father's house. Let there not fail from the house of Joab one that has an issue. What's an issue? Issue is like a sore.
Yeah.
You know who's in sore? You have a sore where keep running. Right. Or that is a leper. Leprosy was one of the things that our people, whenever you have it, you're unclean. Or that leaneth on a staff, that is what? Old man with some problem that him have to walk with stick. Right? Or maybe he's a cripple or something. Or that falleth on the sword, that is killed, or one that lacketh bread, one that go through some real trying hard times in life and not no food most time. 30.
Another one, verse 30. So Joab and Abishai, his brother, slew Abner because he had slain their brother Asael at Gibeon in the battle.
Right. But nothing was on Abner for Asael because it was a battle. But they went and slew the man and there was no battle. You have to be careful. David mourns now. All right, verse 31.
Another one, verse 31. And David said to Joab and to all the people that were with him, rend your clothes and gird you with sackcloth and mourn before Abner. And the king Slakia and the king David himself followed the bier.
B-I-E-R. What is beer?
Another one can bear a movable frame on which a coffin or a corpse is placed before burial or cremation, or on which they are carried to the grave.
All right, so that is what? The funeral procession.
God.
So David gave Abner our what do I call now? Official funeral.
God.
It's like a royal funeral. The king himself was right behind the procession. Right? 32.
Another one can, verse 32. And they buried Abner in Hebron. And the king lifted up his voice and wept at the grave of Abner. And all the people wept.
One thing with David, David respect warriors,
God.
Yeah. David respect warriors. He had respect for Saul. Saul was the Lord anointed, but he also respected Saul as a warrior, respected Jonathan as a warrior. Now he's just showing respect to Abner. He respected Saul's other sons who were warriors. He had respect for warriors. And Abner fell, and Abner did not fall in battle. Abner was murdered. Continue.
Another one can. Verse 33. And the king lamented over Abner and said, died Abner as a fool died.
Died Abner as a fool died? That's a question I'm asking.
God.
Basically, him said, them bad man enough to die. Them warrior not supposed to die like this. I probably feel better if they went into battle and Abner killed 1,000 enemies and then fell in battle. It would have felt better. But how he died was like a fool. All right, continue.
Another one can. Verse 34. Thy hands were not bound, nor thy feet put into fetters. As a man falleth before wicked men, so felleth thou. And all the people wept again over him.
Right. So your hands weren't bound and your foot and your feet weren't bound. You just fell before wicked men.
God.
35.
Another one can, verse
35.
Verse 35. And when all the people came to cause David to eat meat, while it was yet day, David swore, saying, so do God to me, and more also, if I taste bread or aught else, till the sun be down.
Right, David said, no, I eat nothing. So you say it's in our culture to do what? Here they were eating after a funeral.
God.
Isn't that something that we still practice today? Like they are after pass, so they call it after pass. Yeah. Repass. Thank you. The repass. So this is not. You read the Bible and read it with understanding. You see us in the Bible. Our culture. It's our culture. It's not. Well, I don't know if all people follow this now, but that was our culture, and we still have it till today. 36.
Another one can, verse 36. And all the people took notice of it, and it pleased them, as whatsoever the king did please all the people.
37.
Verse 37. Salakia. For all the people and all Israel understood that day that it was not of the king to slay Abner, the son of Ner.
Right. So David was showing publicly that I had nothing to do with this. I'm in mourning and I'm on a fast. It's not me do it. So the people now understood and said, oh, it wasn't David that slew Abner. I wonder who it is. 38.
Another one can, verse 38. And the king said unto his servants, know ye not that there is a prince and a great man fallen this day in Israel?
39.
Verse 39. And I am this day weak to anointed king, and these men, the sons of Zeruiah, be too hard for me. The Lord shall reward the doer of evil according to his wickedness.
David knows a few man them kill him still though. But a few top man them. And he himself is a warrior. All right, so David now become the one king. Well, Ishbosheth not dead yet. But Ishbosheth is not. Abner was the one who was in the way. Abner gone now. All right, Deuteronomy 17.
Another one can.
17 verse 15 and 16.
Another one can. This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 17 verse 15. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose. One
All
from
right.
among.
So the here now the Most High is making it law that it's only the one that the Most High choose shall be king over you. It's in our laws. So you can look and say the Bible, no long time book, man. It's outdated. All right. What else it says? Make only who the Most High give should be king over you. What else it says?
Another one can. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother.
So we are forbidden to set any other person that is not an Israelite as king over us. So this is how you know that the heathens read the Bible, you know. They say I.S.U.P.K, put himself as King Solomon's son.
Gone.
Obviously, they read the scripture here that him have to be of our lineage to be king over us. So him crown, him name himself. He wasn't crowned as King Solomon's son. He named himself as 225th grandson of the Solomonic dynasty in Ethiopia, which is a lie, which is a darn lie. They are Hamites.
Gone.
When you look on all them, look on the Tigrayans them fighting. They don't look just like Selassie. Look like him. That's the era that the lineage of the kings come from I.S.U.P.K. I.S.U.P.K was up there. And this thing, King of Kings, was an I.S.U.P.K title. The kings of I.S.U.P.K used that title, and they didn't use it biblically. It had no biblical meaning when I.S.U.P.K was using it. I.S.U.P.K called themselves King of Kings because they took other territories and they would set kings over the other territories that they would win in battle. But the king that was in I.S.U.P.K was the king over those other kings. Hence they use the term for the I.S.U.P.K king as King of King. But him come now and try put some, along with the church, try put some biblical connotations to it and say King of King, Lords of Lords,
God.
which gives some biblical connotation. But even then, King of King, Lords of Lords, he could have he used it still without the Bible, because the lords would have been those who were in other territories of Ethiopia, the nobles. So he was lords over the nobles, and he was king over all the kings, the other kings that were the other, what do you call them again? The other races who were over Ethiopia. So he was the other races, yes. But it was a title that was given to each province of Ethiopia had a ras over it, which was like a governor, or in their term, they said this man is king because it's that person, he rules that territory. But the king in Addis Ababa ruled over that king, hence the term King of King. That had nothing to do with the Bible. But we know under Marcus Garvey and Leonard Owen, searching, doing a black conscious search, right? That look towards Africa now to say that man, that king, is our redeemer. That king commanded and gone and you still not redeemed. What I tell you?
Right.
Redemption don't come from man. They tell you that that's not the man.
God.
Because you should have been redeemed. And him give you a piece of land. No means to access the land. And you're still until today calling him your redeemer. But like I said before, we're watching that war in Ethiopia now. And it's for one reason, because our Benjamite brothers are down there.
The war going on.
I mean, if war going on, the war eat up the government down there, call a state of emergency. In last year, the government did some bombings, and him said the war is not over. Only to his surprise, it's like the bombing he did strengthened the war. Because the rebels say you bomb us unrighteously. So we're coming for you. So now government call a state of emergency because they are near to Tigray. So anytime soon they are near to Addis Ababa. So anytime soon you can hear that Addis Ababa fall. If Addis Ababa fall, then you know that Ethiopia have a new government. Might be a king, I don't know. But even if it's a king, it's not our king. The most I say anybody ruling over us must be from our brother, must be from our blood. David was our bloodline. And Selassie is nothing of David bloodline. Look at the black Americans and you would have an idea how Christ look. Right? Look at our brothers in America. You see, have an idea how Christ look. Compare them with how those half-starving Ethiopians look. And you can tell, you can decide if
God.
the Ethiopians should be ruling over you. Then go to the Bible, and the Bible will tell you that ye Ethiopians will be slain by my sword. Sorry, will be slain by the sword, which tell you that the Most High have a hit out on their head too. Why? Because they had a hand in our downfall. Yes, as Israelites. And we now running towards the oppressor. Verse 16.
Another one gun. Verse 16. But he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the Slack, yes, sir. You say something?
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, continue.
Another one gone. Verse 16. But he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end that he should multiply horses. For as much as the Lord has said unto you, he shall henceforth return no more that way.
All right. What this is saying is, when he say he shall not multiply horses to himself, he's talking about wealth,
Gone.
nor cause the people to return to Egypt, meaning put the people in bondage so that you can get wealth. Cause the
Gone.
people to return to Egypt to the end that he should multiply horses. So in other words, no, our kings not supposed to tax us into oblivion like what we are facing out here. Understand me? In other words, the kings, well, that was what was one of the things that divided the kingdom after Solomon. The king or the government's taxation should not be so burdensome. Why? Because you want to get riches, so you tax the people. That is forbidden. That's not in our laws. Right. So the most I say, we should not henceforth return no more that way. Right? So in other words, it's not our leaders can, which the most I choose and put over us, can put us into burden, into bondage. That is why in Christ's time, the disciples asked him about the taxation. How them a tax we so? And Christ said, who does the king, who pay tribute to the king? Who does the king collect tribute from? His people, his children, or others? Paraphrasing. And the disciples said, others. And he said, well, then the children are free. You want to Caesar what is for Caesar, meaning man who tax you is not your people taxing you. But then, and even today it's the same, because when you look at the GDP ratio that we put into debt servicing, let me see if I can find it. Jamaica debt to GDP ratio. Here it is, 2020. All right. Jamaica's debt to GDP ratio now stands at 105.58%. Damn. Jamaica national debt in relation to gross domestic product from 2016 to 2026, and this is projected to continue up to at least 2026. Meaning, all the money that you borrow gone into debt servicing. 105.58%. So you require more than you're earning to service a debt. Right? So this is not our people that is over us out here. Taxation a kill we go outside. And here the most I say, the king that he chose to put over us shall not multiply horses to himself, meaning multiply riches to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, meaning bondage, to the end that he should multiply horses. For as much as the Lord hath said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more that way. So we in a serious predicament here in Jamaica. Anytime a war, anytime you have a major war in this world, Jamaica won't in Jamaica again. And we're gonna be owned by somebody else. Right. You know, Barakata Yahweh, it's Christ that should come by the time you have that next major war. Because after that, if that major war come and complete and Christ is not here, and this country is not called Jamaica again and owned by some other persons, we won't be able to talk about no all talks of reparation and slavery, everything gone through the window. Total different curriculum you're gonna get. You won't be taught anything that has to do with you remembering that you even come from the west coast of Africa and came over here in the Atlantic slave trade. You ain't gonna remember that. That won't be so in order to get rid of that, you know what they're going to do? Kill out me and you remember. So that it doesn't pass on to the children. Yeah, that's what they would do. They call it a purge. America has gone through several purges, in the black communities, Yeah. But it's purged from what? It's not purged from the remembrance of slavery. Purging them from the remembrance that you can acquire wealth on your own. Go through and then wipe out Tulsa, Oklahoma, and many other cities who were making financial strides. They went and attacked them. And many other nations has gone into America and has not faced any the kind of oppression that we face after slavery to prevent us from making economical strides. The other nation has not experienced any such thing. This picture here is one. Okay, not there. The other nations in America have not experienced those things, but we have. What is this picture here? Okay, one.
Cancer, Slovakia.
Yeah, this that they have queue up. What is it?
Say that again.
This that you have queued up. What is it?
Slovakia, didn't hear you correctly. What you say?
This that you have in the queue. This picture here.
Oh, it's a picture of an Ethiopian. I was just trying to you know what I mean, show that. Yeah, you hearing me?
Yeah, can.
Yeah, just try to show you what they look like as compared to we, you know what I mean? I was gonna put up a picture of Selassie too.
You put him up now?
Good.
When him come here and realize you don't look nothing like the Tigrians.
Good.
So she is an Ethiopian woman. Right. So these people are not our people.
Good.
And these people that we are paying tribute to, also known as IMF in particular, is not our people. These method of debt servicing and thing, it's used to put you back. This is what puts you back in Egypt. Taxation, oppression, that we call it oppression. Remember this song, Putting Up a Resistance? Who sing it again? Barry Salmon. Putting Up a Resistance. I'm gotta work it out. Every time I lift my head above the water, there is an overnight scheme, all work out, designed to keep you down. Yeah. Just like how now they are announcing how much money they're going to pump into the cannabis industry. What about the men who went to prison for ganja and is still in behind bars? and they're going to be released. You free up cannabis and you still have them.
Gone.
So that show you. That is we you don't like. You don't like us. And the Most High is doing everything for us to see that nothing from Esau likes us. Even when our people go and join with their religion, our people end up eating each other, like Kevin Smith, and cut each other and cutting people them throat. Yeah, is what he learned from the oppressor. Still want to know who were those men that taught him. Yeah, man, I see him where the Tigrayans them look who will fight the war, you know.
Gone.
Look like him here. All right, take me to Isaiah 3, chapter 3, verse 4 to 5.
Gone.
Let's
One.
see.
Gone. Another one gone. This is the book of Hosea, chapter 3, verse 4. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image, and without an ephod, and without a teraphim.
Right. So we gonna be without all those things for many days, which is now. We are without a king. We have no one to prevent us from getting these unbearable taxation. Nobody. Right? No ephod that you may so use it to speak to to contact the Most High. No teraphim. Nothing. Verse 5.
Another one gone. Verse 5. Afterward shall the children of Israel return and seek the Lord their God, and David their king, and shall fear the Lord and his goodness in the latter days.
In the latter days. So this is talking about in the end times here.
Gone.
This was Uzziah was in the time of the Babylonian captivity. And the only captivity came after the Babylonian captivity was the fall of Jerusalem to the Romans. So here now Uzziah is talking of letting the people know that, these things is going to happen again, We got to abide without king, but we shall return and seek God Almighty, and we shall seek the king. But by the time of Uzziah, where was David? Where was David? Where was David at that? By the time we reached down to Uzziah, where was David?
David was dead.
David died.
Gone.
So this is not talking about David really. It's talking about Christ, who is of the lineage of David. Because David had long dead gone by this time. So if we're seeking David the king now, who are we seeking? His son, Christ. We are seeking that lineage who had kings on it who was righteous over us. And David had some terrible sons there still, grandsons, some really wicked ones reign over us too. But, talking about the righteous root, which was Christ in the end. And Christ shall come and rule over us eternally. And this is talking about the latter days. All right, question. Yeah, sure, I see the question on All right, question. Officer, our prayer on.
La, sir. No question.
All right, with that, we pass the class over to priest and officer. Can you add one?
All right, clap it up. All right, these are the ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or a sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or a sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, you can find this in Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. Means tenth in the Hebrew and is pronounced ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you'd like to give. Upcoming holy convocation, that is the feast of dedication or Akanika. This is the 25th day of the 9th month by the space of 8 days. This is Sunday, the 28th of November for 8 days. You can find this in 1 Maccabees chapter 4, verse 52 to 61. Reminding Akiam and Aquatiam to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirt, pants, headband, or scarf. And with that, we say I-Madium, which means to stand.
Oh, before we go on, you know that Christ used to celebrate, it's in the book of John, I think. Christ celebrated feast of the, what is it called again? Hanukkah, which is the feast of the dedication, which is to be found in Maccabees. That show you that Maccabees, them books from Maccabees should, from Apocrypha shouldn't have left the Bible.
Okay.
Christ followed those books.
Another one can. Sar Lapanya Aquadam, which means turn to face the east. We're going to say the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Abanawa.
Abanawa.
Shabbat Shemayah.
Shabbat Shemayah.
Kodash.
Kodash.
Aya.
Aya.
Shamka.
Shamka.
Yahawa.
Yahawa.
Malakwatka.
Malakwatka.
Taba'a.
Taba'a.
Ratazaka.
Ratazaka.
Aya.
Aya.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Barataza.
Barataza.
Kawa.
Kawa.
Aya.
Aya.
Washamaya.
Washamaya.
Nathanawa.
Nathanawa.
Lakam.
Lakam.
Kal.
Kal.
Yawam.
Yawam.
Wasalaklanawa.
Wasalaklanawa.
Kawabwatnawa.
Kawabwatnawa.
Kasalatnawa. Kawabwatyanawa.
Kawabwatyanawa.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Tabaya'anawa.
Tabayanawa.
Banasayawan.
Banasayawan.
Abal.
Abal.
Awashainawa.
Awashainawa.
Mayan.
Maya.
Right.
Right.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Laka.
Laka.
Amalakwat.
Amalakwat.
Wa'ala.
Wahahala.
Wa'ataparat.
Batapara,
La Iwalamiam.
La Iwalam.
Amen.
Amen. In English, our Father which art in heaven,
Our Father which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth,
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth,
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread,
Give us this day our daily bread,
and forgive us our debts,
and forgive us our debts,
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever. So be it. Amen.
forever so be it. Amen.
Prayer for the curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh,
Blessed are you, Yahweh,
King of heaven and earth,
King of heaven and earth,
and all things living.
and all things living.
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh,
in the name of Yahweh,
listen to us now,
listen to us now,
right now.
right now.
Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction
Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction
to the heathen
to the heathen
that speak against us, thy prophets,
that speak against us, thy prophets,
the teachers,
the teachers,
the princes,
the princes,
the priests,
the priests,
the Israelite brothers, and the school.
the Israelite brothers and the school.
Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction
Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction
to the heathen,
to the heathen,
and shake loose the treasure of the rich of Israel,
and shake loose the treasure of the rich of Israel
that refuse to give to the school.
that refuse to give to the school.
Force their riches to enter into thy sanctuary.
Force their riches to enter into thy sanctuary.
Enter into thy sanctuary. Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction
Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction
to the Edomites
to the Edomites
and the nations
and the nations
and their drug dealers,
and their drug dealers,
the court system,
the court system,
the prison system,
prison system,
Planned Parenthood,
Planned Parenthood,
all the governments of our enemies,
all the governments of our enemies,
Amalek synagogues and armies,
Amalek synagogues and armies,
Roman Catholic Church,
Roman Catholic Church,
the Pope,
Pope,
Islam,
Islam,
Christianity,
Christianity,
Egyptology,
Egyptology,
militia,
militia,
Ku Klux Klan,
Ku Klux Klan,
Aryan Nation,
Aryan Nation,
Skinheads,
Skinheads,
Pasikomatazi,
Pasikamatazi,
the gay movement,
the gay movement,
the lesbian movement,
the lesbian movement,
spies,
spies,
workers of witchcraft,
workers of witchcraft,
NASA space programs,
as a space program,
Army,
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 Navy,
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 Air Force,
Air
Air
Force,
Force,
Marines,
Marine,
Marines,
Wall Street.
Wall Street,
Wall Street,
Open up the internet and the airways,
open up the internet and the airways,
the cable access channels,
cable access channels,
and the radio channels.
and the radio channel.
Convict the spirit of any of thy people
Convict the spirit of any of thy people
that seek to stop us
that seek to stop us
stop us,
and bring swift destruction to all the heathen
and bring swift destruction to all the Eden
Eden,
that stand in the way
that stand in the way
or try to stop us from broadcasting your words
or try to stop us from broadcasting your words
throughout the planet Earth.
throughout the planet Earth.
Let loose all the plagues.
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 Cause them to go to and fro
Cause them to go to and fro
through the earth
through the earth
and consume them.
and consume them.
Let the plague shake the house of the thief and the murderer.
Let the plagues shake the house of the thief and the murderer.
Let Yahweh, Michael and Gabriel
Let YAHANNA, Michael, and Gabriel
come down with the flying saucer
come down with the flying saucers
and punish all the heathens
and punish all the Eden
that come up against us
that come up against us
as we speak thy word.
as we speak thy word.
Cause it to be known by all
Cause it to be known by all
that it is the angels that have done it.
that it is the angels that has done it.
Cause it to be spread through the media,
Cause it to be spread through the media,
throughout the whole world.
throughout the whole world.
for the whole world,
Cause them to shake at thy coming.
Cause them to shake at thy coming.
In the name of Yahweh, thank you always so be.
In the name of YAHANNA, I thank you always. All right, this is the prayer for the
Prayer
poor.
for the people.
Yahweh Basham Yahushai,
Yahweh Basham Yahweh,
Baba Kwasha,
Baba Kosha,
Nathan Lanawa,
Nathan Lana,
Akak,
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 Larapa'a,
Larapa,
Kalmakala,
Kalmakala,
Wakal Marawa,
Bakal Madawa,
Akak,
Akak,
Lata'a,
Lataha,
Amatazaria,
Amatazaria,
Akak,
Akak,
La Akwaya,
Lahakwaya,
Amatiam,
Amathiam,
Akak,
Akak,
Irakawat,
Irakawat,
Atamala,
Atamala,
Lagarashan,
Lagarasha,
Basham Yahushai,
Basham Yahweh,
Tawada Aman,
Wadaman. In English, Yahweh in the name of Yahweh.
Yahweh in the name of YAHANNA.
Please give us the power.
Please give us the power.
please give us
The power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease.
The power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease.
The power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to cleanse the lepers.
Power to raise the dead.
The power to raise the dead.
The power against unclean spirits,
power against unclean spirits,
to cast them out in the name of Yahushua.
cast them out in the name of Yahushua.
Thank you, so be it.
Thank you, so be it. All right, this is the prayer for the blessings in Hebrew. Yahweh Sham Yahushai.
Yahweh Sham Yahushai.
Barak Lanawa.
Barak Lanawa.
Wayasharala.
Wayasharala.
Wa'a.
Wow.
Bayatsaparia.
Bayatsapayam.
Barak.
Barak.
Rapa'a.
Rapa'a.
Gan.
Magan.
Hagan.
Hagan.
Commanding General YAHANNA.
Commanding General YAHANNA.
Generals.
The generals.
Captains.
The captains.
Officers.
The officers.
Troopers.
The troopers.
Young men and the sisters.
The young men and the sisters.
Basham Yawashai.
Basham Yawashai.
Tuwada Aman.
Tuwada Aman. What we had just said in English, Lord, in the name of Yahushua, bless us and Israel and the school. Bless, heal, shield, protect our loved ones in the name of Yahushua. With Jesus. Thank you, so be it.
Sir, which means to turn. We're going to give one courtesy salute to the teacher, men of Israel. I.S.U.P.K. Shabbat. I.S.U.P.K. Barak. Yahweh Sham Yahushai Brakatah.
Yahweh Sham Yahushai Brakatah.
Yaramata. We're going to give one courtesy salute to the sisters, men of Israel. Sar, which means to turn and face the sister. Men of Israel. I.S.U.P.K. Shabbat. I.S.U.P.K. Barak. Yahweh Shamar Alatan Basham Yahushai.
Yahweh Shamar Alatan Basham Yahushai.
Yaramata. Class dismissed.
In this time of the pandemic, where COVID-19 has crippled the world economies, where our government has ordered nationwide shutdown, where hospitals are overwhelmed.
Shortly after, the unthinkable happened.
I was literally stunned and frozen.
And their religious leaders are proven to be frauds. Where do you go to get all your questions answered and to hear what God has to say about this matter? You can only find the answers in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under Commanding General YAHANNA. We give you scriptural breakdowns of world events and the up and coming world war. We will show you in the Bible where the children of Israel, who are the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans today, would suffer slavery in Jamaica, Caribbean, North, Central, and South America, and other parts of the world. We will show you in the Bible where God said he would send plagues upon the earth before he frees people from this captivity.
The World Health Organization has declared coronavirus a global pandemic.
We will give you the true teaching of the Bible, precept upon precept. To learn more, subscribe today and call the number in the description for I.S.U.P.K. Jamaica. Shalom.
All right, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave any question that you have in the comment section. So with that, we say shalom.